NASA may have just fixed the Hubble telescope by shaking it and turning it on and off. Welcome to the brand new episode of PigCake Plus News. I never thought for one day that the popular advice they would give you, that you would pay somebody at Best Buy to give you if you are an elderly person and don't really know a lot about technology, which is, have you tried turning it off and then turning it back on again? I never thought I would see the day where NASA may have actually fixed their ailing Hubble telescope by just turning it off and turning it on. According to this article, it says that it's been a harrowing few weeks for the Hubble Space Telescope, but NASA believes that it's one step closer to restoring the instrument to full functionality. NASA engineers initially feared the telescope's backup gyroscope was busted, which would have limited Hubble's ability to observe the universe. However, a series of deceptively simple procedures seem to have knocked some good sense into the gyro. Speaking of gyro, I remember I was at a Greek restaurant a couple years back, and if you ever order from a Greek restaurant, you read it as gyro, but it's actually pronounced hero from my understanding. So it was a very condescending moment when I said, yeah, let me just get the gyro wrap. And then the guy says, one hero wrap. All right, that's fine. It almost felt like he was calling me a fuckface without actually calling me a fuckface. So I don't know if to feel insulted, but I do remember that it was kind of like a snarky tone. Like, he knows and he heard me call it a gyro, and I imagine that he hears a lot of people call it a gyro on a daily basis because that's how it's fucking spelt. But instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna get you a gyro wrap or a gyro sandwich, he corrects me without correcting me. So he corrects me by saying hero. But you know what? I haven't been there since. So who really won, huh? You attractive Greek individual. He's a very, very attractive man from what I remember. He had like a thick lock of hair. I remember that very clearly. But anyways, apparently they might have fixed this Hubble telescope by just shaking it and turning it on and off. Again, shaking it is very simple, but they found the means to shake it through whatever technology they may have installed inside of the actual telescope itself. But it goes to show you, man, all you got to do is just turn it off, turn it on. Shit's going to be good as new. I remember having to help older people with their computer problems. No lie, I remember this one lady, I was called down and she says that she hasn't been able to access her computer for 2 days and she doesn't know what to do. She's tried everything. She's turned off the desktop, turned it on, but the nothing shows on her monitor. And I tried just, I don't know, pressing the button of the monitor and it turned on the screen and her computer was as good as new. This lady was making, I think, 90 grand. 90 fucking grand, and she can't turn on a monitor. God, what a wonderful world we live in. I was at Walgreens the other day. I was at Walgreens and I realized that Walgreens might just be the worst store of all time. I don't know if you guys have Walgreens wherever you're from. I think they call it Dwayne Reed, or that might be CVS up north. Either way, Walgreens is one of these pharmacy stores where they have just a bunch of shit. You know, they have gum, they have shampoo, they have food. It's like a weird dichotomy of things that they have in the store. Things that shouldn't be sold together, but they're still sold together because of capitalism. So I went inside Walgreens looking for a trimmer for my increasingly fuzzled beard. I need to maintain it. I had a trimmer, but unfortunately it's broken for some reason. It doesn't charge. So I said, you know what? Why not? Let's go to Walgreens and see if they have some good budget options, because I don't want to break the bank. I've seen some trimmers that are, you know, $80, $90. Fuck that. I want some shit that's 20 bucks and gonna do the job. So I find the trimmer that I'm waiting for, and it's behind a glass. You know, I see that it's an expensive item. It's 20 bucks. I see some other trimmers there that are 80 bucks. You know, there's one that's $130. But there's also more expensive hair products that aren't encased in glass. So I don't understand what the necessity is to hide this behind glass. So I'm not gonna steal it. I could just steal the shampoo that's $80 and sell that. It doesn't make any sense. So that's already one hindrance. But the button next to the fucking thing where you ask for help, because apparently even adults need to ask for help, was broken. Almost on purpose. It seems like an employee maybe shoved the button inside of the little contraption so that nobody would ask for help. So what I did, being the reasonable, intelligent man that I am, is that I went to the other section, the skincare section, right next to the makeup, and I pressed the button. And I stayed there and waited, and nobody helped me, even though the broadcast kept repeating help needed in the skincare department, help needed in the skincare department, and nobody came to help. So I waited in line. I'm a very patient individual. I consider myself to be pedestrian of the year. Even if it's my right of way, I'll run across the street just to make sure that you don't waste any more time in your day waiting for me to cross the median. So I go to the line and I wait there. And there's quite a bit of a line. It seems like there are 2 Europeans in front of me that have never used a credit card in their lives because they're inserting it the wrong way. The chip is facing the wrong direction. It takes them a little while to insert it back into the thing. They're laughing with the cashier, and I'm like, haha, this what I thought was going to be a 5-minute process has now turned into about a 20-minute process here, waiting for the person to come in, open the machine, and then waiting in line. So then finally I get my turn and I say, hey, yeah, I just need somebody to open the machine there. And obviously that takes a little bit of time. Ultimately I get the razor in my hand, and as I go back to the line, a woman is now in front of me. And I said, fine, that's cool. I stepped out of the line. So by the rule of the line, technically I'm no longer in it. So therefore somebody could just take my spot. It doesn't matter. So I go and I wait behind this lady. And this lady exemplifies why old people should not be let out of their cage. She decides to break her purchase of the day into 3 subsections. So she, instead of just swiping once with her card and then maybe having another purchase that she does with cash, she decides to break it down between credit, debit, and then cash. So that's the way she broke down her payment, meaning that she got 3 items and split it up into 3 individual transactions with the cashier. It was very convoluted. And she was also an older woman, I would say 60, but she was unaware of her surroundings, which is where this is going to lead to me being extremely angry, in that it takes her 15 minutes to get through this entire process of being rung up, explaining to the cashier what she wants. The cashier trying to politely explain to her, oh, okay, you need to do this. You need a credit card if you want to do that. And she goes, oh, credit card, that's fine. She reaches into her purse. She takes out a plastic bag. She's looking through the plastic bag. She finds a credit card. She puts in a credit card. 15 minutes the process took. Very patient. I'm sure I might be exaggerating because of just the anger and fury that was coursing through my veins. It was probably like 5 minutes, but to me it felt like 15 fucking minutes, I'm sure if I would have timed it, it would have been fucking 15 minutes because my phone would have felt my anger. And then when she's finally done with the transaction, she stays there. She stays there, blocking the credit card access and covering most of the space that I would need to take in order to make my transaction. So the cashier makes eye contact with me and she says, hey, how can I help you? I go, yeah, I'm just here to buy this beard trimmer. She rings it up and she says, do you have a Walgreens card? I'm like, yeah, I do. And we both look at this lady who's still there. She's still there, putting the stuff back into her plastic bag, which seemed to be her wallet. I don't fucking know. Either way, the lady doesn't move for generally 3 to 4 minutes. She doesn't move. And it's the most awkward silence you've ever experienced in your life, because I'm not talking, the cashier's not talking, and this lady's just casually putting stuff in her fucking plastic bag. And then she takes the remaining stuff that she bought from the little separation between the counter where they put the bags and the card swiper thing, and she puts the rest of it leisurely in her fucking cart. Leisurely, as if nothing else is wrong with this situation, which is exactly why I fucking hate people. This exemplifies why I hate people, because this lady was unaware of the impending death that was coming her way if she would have taken 5 more minutes. Because I'm just there, I'm putting my polite face, but inside I'm seething, thinking, you can't fucking realize, you dumb inconsiderate cunt, that there's a line now forming behind me because you decided to take 5 fucking minutes to put away a credit card in a plastic bag. That's not even a wallet, you cunt. God damn it. And then on top of that, she didn't even realize that she still had stuff left. So she was grabbing all this stuff and putting in her cart leisurely. Finally, she walks away, but she only walks away halfway. So she's still blocking the way to the credit card machine. And then comes the Walgreens transaction. The Walgreens transaction happens at every single fucking Walgreens, where first they ask you for your Walgreens number and you got to put in your phone number, and then they ask you to put in the debit card, and then you put in a debit card, and then they ask you, do you want to take cash out? Then they ask you, do you want to donate money? And then finally they ask you for your PIN. And then finally they ask you for confirmation. So 6 steps to buy one motherfucking beard trimmer. And then on top of that, you pay for it and they give you a receipt that's longer than the line to the flea market bathroom. It was a ridiculous situation. And then finally this entire process, which again should have taken 5 minutes, instead took 30 minutes because of this inconsiderate cunt, and also because of the Walgreens system where apparently they're trying to keep you in the store as long as fucking possible. God damn it. So tall people are at a greater risk for cancer, says a study according to CNN. So apparently according to this, tall people are at a greater risk of cancer because they have more cells in their body, new research has suggested. A person's risk for developing cancer increases 10% for every 10 centimeters or 4 inches they are over the average height, a study said, because they have more cells which could mutate and lead to cancer. The average height is defined in the study by 5 feet 4 inches, and women 5 feet 9 inches for men. See, I got excited there for a second because I'm like, haha, 5 feet 4. But that's women. That's the woman average height. The man average height is 5'9", and I'm well under 5'9". I'm a fairly short individual. I blame my mom. She's 2'10" and about 4'11". So it really kind of fucked me in that avenue. But it's like a little meatball now that I think about it. Just like a little condensed meatball. But yeah, apparently you tallies, you people making fun of us short people, you're gonna die sooner. So how's that? You enjoy your time, man. You enjoy your time making fun of us short people, saying, haha, you're short, or, you know, other things like, haha, your mom doesn't fucking love you because you're adopted and you're a piece of shit. And also, I'm taller than you, so take that. You know, the things that any short person hears on a daily basis. So now we have something to wait for. We have something to look forward to, and that's those people apparently having some sort of increased risk of developing not only cancer, but increased blood clots, heart problems, and diabetes. And it makes more sense. There's more of you, so you know there's more tallness, so obviously there would be more cells that could potentially become mutated and thus turn cancerous. But there's actually a lot more terrifying for tall people because, you know, they're already prone to having their hearts work harder because there's more space to distribute the blood in their body, and yes, there's more blood, but then the heart has to kind of overcompensate for that, so you're more at risk for heart attacks and heart palpitations and all that shit. But now you could also get some cancer, so not a good situation for those tall people. Goes to show you, man, all those people in middle school were definitely wrong. This is another one in terms of health. Childhood obesity is measured state to state, so there's some sort of map here that measures the obesity rates from different states from the ages of 10 to 17. It seems here that purple in this map represents 35% obesity, which I don't see any sort of state encompassing purple. The closest seems to be West Virginia. Apparently people and children from West Virginia are fat as fuck. Good old Florida here is at 16.9% child obesity. I think child obesity is child abuse. I'm of the hardline variety when it comes to seeing a fat kid and realizing that that fat kid is being given, you know, Doritos. He's being given Mountain Dew. And when you're younger, your metabolism is definitely better. But at the same time, that's no excuse to develop a lifestyle that's going to carry on into your adulthood. You know, you don't really see a lot of obese 70-year-olds. And there's good reason for that because, again, just like tall people, they're more prone to heart disease. They're more prone to diabetes, cancers. So according to this, what seems to be driving state-by-state differences is economic factors. So states with higher levels of poverty may have higher rates of obesity. Apparently, according to the article, it says that could be traced back to the fact that it's difficult to eat a healthy diet with limited income. You know, I find that a little bit hard to believe. Whenever I go to the grocery store, vegetables, like the frozen ones, are the cheapest. So, you know, you could get like 10 bags of corn for $10, and that's enough for, you know, 10 fat fucking meals of vegetables. And then chicken patties aren't really that expensive either. For $10 you could get 6 patties, kind of fat, thick patties. And that's pretty lean. That's lean meat. You get your vegetables and you buy some eggs. So I feel like that limited income excuse doesn't really hold true. And the prices here are ridiculous, man. I went up north to Middle America a long while back, and the prices were fucking cheap as shit. I imagine because it's probably closer to the farmland, so therefore there's no need to add the cost of travel to Florida's penis. But even then, I still find vegetables that are at least frozen to be cheaper here, so that's not an excuse. Apparently another one is there are different rates of obesity by race and ethnicity. So another explanation for differences across states may be the variability in demographic profiles across the country. So therefore this adds to the stereotype of, African Americans enjoying their fried foods and whites enjoying their barbecue, enjoying their fast food. What's the stereotype for white fat people? I know black people it's fried chicken, but I don't really know the stereotype for white people that are fat. Is it relatives? Is that what it is? They eat their relatives sexually and in terms of food? Maybe that could be it. Still, fairly interesting article to think about. Boy, are crimes getting interesting. Apparently in Alabama, a woman says a man broke into her house, made himself breakfast, took a bath, and washed his clothes. Mary Royster says that she came home Tuesday to find a strange man who would not leave and told her that he was waiting for his clothes to dry. 31-year-old Tyler Love is now back at Limestone County Jail under charge of burglary. He has been released just last week after serving time for another burglary. She says every drawer in her house has been searched through, and he made himself scrambled eggs, took a bath, shaved, and brushed his teeth. She says finding the man in her home was scary, but he wasn't violent, and she can laugh about it now. And they have a picture of this individual. What a fucking man. I just wonder what his end game was. I feel like this has to be the byproduct of inbreeding, because there's no way a rational adult male could break into a house, essentially have a morning routine where he makes himself breakfast, takes a shower, shaves, brushes his teeth with, I imagine to be her toothbrush. And imagine if she has like a bar of soap, like a universal bar of soap, which by the way is a fucking disgusting habit to have. I don't know if maybe this applies to you guys, but I've always been a strictly liquid soap sort of guy. And whenever I did buy bar soap, I kept it on my own. So I put it in a bag and I put that shit somewhere else so people don't use that. I remember growing up in my house, they some members of my family used the same bar of soap. What? It's fucking disgusting. And then I talked to other people and their families also shared a bar of soap. What? I don't want to rub my face in what my grandmother was just rubbing her ass on, So I don't know if that's something to you guys. People might argue, dude, it's soap. It's fucking disgusting. So anyways, there's potential this man rubbed his face with her soap. Definitely a weird crime. I can't say that I'd be too scared, but it definitely would be uncomfortable because did he put on her clothes while he was waiting for his clothes to dry after washing it? Maybe he just wanted to get away from his wife, so he just went over to a different house and just wanted his alone time, wanted some me time to himself. But I just wonder what his end game was, if he was hoping to do all these things and then leave before she came back, or maybe he was hoping for her to get back and then charm her into maybe becoming his concubine. You never know, and I don't think we'll ever find out. So apparently Kansas City reports that a 25-year-old man named Sean Sykes entered a plea deal on Monday, and the charges stem from a police traffic stop in September in Kansas City, which officers found a backpack with drugs and guns. So the main story here isn't that, it's that his excessive flatulence forced the detectives to cut short an interrogation that he was a part of. So the detective reports that when asked for his address, Sykes leaned to one side of his chair and released a loud fart before answering. Court documents say that Sykes continued to be flatulent and the detective was forced to quickly end the interview. Sykes will be sentenced at a later date after a pre-sentence report is completed. Could you imagine getting away with a crime because the police just says, fuck it, whatever, just get out of me. Get out of my face. Get out of my sight, you fuck. You smell like shit. The fuck did you eat? It's disgusting. All because you just, playing the trombone with your ass. Dropping some of those cheeseburger farts, son. You know what I'm talking about? After you go to the Dairy Queen, you grab one of those cheeseburgers and you just rip it in. So apparently this guy almost did that, but unfortunately he's going to be sentenced later. So he didn't get away with that with his farts. But man, what a legend. What a fucking absolute legend this individual would have been. And definitely would have shown some sort of loophole in the law. I know that there's an issue with sovereign citizens. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but sovereign citizens are individuals that think that they are above the law. Let me look up the actual definition here. So sovereign citizens is a movement which contains a loose grouping of American and Commonwealth litigants, commentators, tax protesters, and financial scheme promoters, apparently in reference to a political movement that grew out of the belief that the government abuses its power. Members often refuse to hold social security cards, driver's licenses, and avoid using zip codes. So you see them most notably on YouTube compilations where police pull them over because they have a self-made license plate that says sovereign citizen on it. And then when the officer comes in and says, "Hey sir, you can't drive without a license," their response is, I'm waiting for it. Their response is, "Sir, I wasn't driving, I was traveling." And nowhere in the Constitution or the laws does it say that I need to have a license to travel. And some of them even go as far as citing the Articles of Confederation. So that's what a sovereign citizen is. If you want to look up compilations, they're very interesting. There was one where an officer is interrogating a young couple that he believes has marijuana. At some point, the man decides to fight back. The cop, of course, decides to fight back. And he says, "Man, I'm being abused. Call the police." Then the cop, of course, responds, "Sir, I am the police." So if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday night, you might just want to look up sovereign citizen compilation, sovereign citizen owned compilation. But I haven't seen the movement down here. Apparently it's relegated to up north. I see the map highlighting parts of Texas, parts of Washington. So those are all states that are prone to having sovereign citizens. This one has been permeating the news recently about flushable wipes apparently not being flushable. Now I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fan of baby wipes. I feel like they're better at the job than regular toilet paper. I think the next step is bidet, but I'm not ready to make that step yet. Definitely wipes is the way to go. I want an ass so clean you can eat out of it. I want an ass so clean a man could eat it out. So anyways, divers spent 2 days inside of a South Carolina sewer pulling out a huge ball of oily, black, used wet wipes and baby wipes that have clogged intake pumps. So apparently the Charleston water system posted pictures of the masses of wipes on his Twitter account. It looks like it looks like a Yeti, like a black Yeti. It reminded people that only human waste and toilet tissue should be flushed. The cloth wipes, which have rapidly become popular, tend to be thrown away because they are woven and don't break down in water. That's disgusting. So the divers apparently dove 100 feet into a sewer well after the wipes, which was congealed by grease and other items also sent into the pipes. Apparently the divers couldn't actually smell in their suits or see in the darkness, but as soon as they came back up, they got a bleach bath while still wearing their suits. So people are fucking disgusting, man. People are definitely fucking disgusting. And you know what? I also blame the companies that put flushable on their packaging. I have no idea why they're not sued. They sell them next to the toilet paper. So they have two different sections in grocery stores. They have the baby section with the diapers and the wipes. And then they have the toilet section where they have, you know, toilet paper and different things you'd put in your bathroom. And in there is also flushable wipes. Again, the implication here is that you could flush them. Now, again, because people are selfish, these wipes typically don't affect your house. They affect the actual sewage system of the city, which you do in turn pay for with your tax dollars. So it doesn't make sense to flush down wipes. It's just so hard to discard them in a bag like a human and then put it away in a garbage bag, which goes right back into the water anyways. Either way, we're fucked. So apparently police are on the lookout for Ross from Friends, because it seems like a man who looks exactly like Friends star David Schwimmer was caught stealing the picture here of the actual camera looks exactly like Ross from Friends, which leads me to a very important subject here, which is that Friends sucks. Friends has always sucked. Friends will never be good. And the show was pretty much entirely on the backbone of Joey and Chandler. That's it. That's the entire show. If it wasn't for those two characters, the rest of it would be cancer. Don't give me this Phoebe bullshit. Don't give me this, oh, Ross. Ross is so funny. Ross is a bitch. The only thing that Friends was good for was just wasting time between Seinfeld and Everybody Loves Raymond. Two amazing gold shows. And then you got Monica. Ugh, what a frigid bitch. And then don't even get me started on Rachel. Fucking Rachel. What are her qualifications, huh? She's lucky she's played by Jennifer Aniston, who's fucking still hot. But god damn, what an awful show. And people defend Friends. I still see people wearing Friends shirts. They all got it wrong. If you look at Seinfeld, there's a clear story to the show. There's humor that doesn't just involve quirkiness like in fucking Friends. And then if you talk about Everybody Loves Raymond, there's a great dichotomy between the families. You have the Raymond with his wife who's super hot, and then you have the brother who's trying to get the love of the parents, but they love Raymond, so there's humor there. Then there's humor in the father that doesn't give a fuck. And you got Doris Roberts, who's one of the greatest fucking female older actresses of all time. Unfortunately, she's passed away. What a phenomenal show. And what do you have? You have fucking Friends, really? God. I think I have to end it there. I'm so disgusted by the thought of Friends right now that I feel like I can't carry this episode longer than this. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in to this wonderful news experiment that I have going. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to tell your friends about the show. Why not? Tell your friends. Have them listen in. And then hopefully learn a thing or two. If they like Friends, fuck them. We don't need them. We don't need them here on the PigCake Plus News Experience. Well, I'm going to go figure out different ways to use fries as a dumbbell.
When I see you again, 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 when I see you again.